Welcome to Together We Eat. In this unique series, we will be visiting a variety of minority-owned restaurants to share their food and their stories. Since the beginning of time, humans have bonded over sharing a meal. By breaking bread together, we have been able to forge relationships and create friendships, which allows us to appreciate different cultures. Food helps us break down barriers so we can engage in meaningful conversation about issues facing our society. Each episode will have a different hot topic and a diverse panel of guests from all backgrounds to share a meal and open up honest and real discussions. This is Together We Eat. What up, Long Beach? We are here today at George's Greek Cafe. This is definitely one of my favorite restaurants in Long Beach. It's also my favorite Greek restaurant in Long Beach. I think they have the best Greek food. I might be a little bit biased. I worked here for almost 4 years, but before that, I was a really big George's regular. They have amazing food, great hospitality, and most of all, George's is a family-owned business, and they treat everybody like family. So that's definitely something that made me fall in love with this place. So we're gonna be talking to the owner, Jimmy. We're also gonna have our guest panel talking about the homeless crisis in Long Beach. But before all of that, let's go eat some delicious Greek food. Okay, I am joined today with the man himself, Mr. Jimmy Loizides. He is the owner here at George's Greek Cafe, and he is a handful. But I'm so happy to have him speak with us today and tell us all about the George's empire and just the family business. So thank you for being here and talking with me.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So tell us how George's became George's and how it started. I know that you were a server or busboy, right? For like a really long time. You worked in the service industry?
Started at McDonald's when I was 16.
That's right.
15 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little McDonald's on Anaheim and Eximino, which is now Tommy Burger.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those old arch McDonald's.
Yeah, the OG ones.
That's where I started, yeah. I started washing dishes there.
And then you just moved it up and saved some money up?
And here we are.
What made you want to start a restaurant?
You know what? When I was in high school, I thought someday I might be an engineer or a doctor. I had really good grades. I was going to go to college, and then I started working at McDonald's, and I loved it so much that
you don't hear that often.
Yeah, I loved it so much that I changed my path.
And then you just wanted to have a restaurant.
Yeah. So ever since then, I worked towards that, and the inspiration for George's was. I had come back. I was gone for a few years to the island of Cyprus. Mm-hmm. I came back in 1992, and I went to visit my dad, who was working at a little Greek market. Mm-hmm. It was called the Greek Market on PCH and Loins. And I walked in, and my dad was, had an apron on. And he was mopping the floor. Mm-hmm. You know, my dad's always smiling.
Yeah.
He turned on and smiled, and I looked at him, and I started bawling, and I go, "Dad, we're going to open up our own restaurant. You're never going to have to wash dishes or mop floors again." Mm-hmm. And a couple of years later, we opened up the restaurant, and it was my dad and I, my parents and I, my sister, my brother. We all started together.
Yeah. And so, what made you want to call it George's instead of Jimmy's? Just to honor your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides, Jimmy's doesn't sound very Greek.
That's true.
Even though my real name is Demetrius.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so, did you grow up like cooking in the kitchen with your family?
Yep.
Were you always kind of helping out and like had an affinity for food ever since you were younger?
I was also my mom. I drive her crazy because I was the messy one.
Yeah.
But I was left cooking.
Shocker.
Yeah. So I just watch her, and when we did the recipes for here, we do it together, and I have to catch things like in paper bags because she'd throw in like a pinch of salt. How do you measure that?
Yeah.
So I'd have to do all those kind of things and get creative on how we would do our recipes.
Yeah.
And then we modify them to do it for high volume because
right.
what you serve at home doesn't translate to
right.
restaurant volume.
Right. So are pretty much all of the recipes that are here at George's your mama's recipes?
Yeah.
Like pretty much everything that.
They're her recipe or inspired by her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your mother and your father, I just want to offer my condolences because they both passed away in the end of 2019, correct?
A year and 2 weeks ago.
And they passed away within a week of each other, which
Yep.
I thought that was so tragic, but at the same time, like, I felt like they couldn't live without each other. So I'm definitely want to offer my condolences for that, because anybody that has ever been to George's probably got a hug from George when you first walked in. So how did that start for George to become the greeter and give everybody hugs when they would come in and make everybody be a part of the family?
You know, it's just my dad. If you know my dad, he's probably the most unique person I've ever known. Not because everybody says it about their parents,
Yeah.
but
he really was.
He loved everybody,
Yeah.
and he was just so happy that you would come in and spend money at a restaurant. That what you got from him at the front door was real. It wasn't fake.
Yeah.
He was just such a lovely human being, and everybody loved him, and he loved everybody. And so that happened naturally for him. We didn't tell him to, hey, go stand up front and hug people.
Right. Did he just kind of like hang
Yeah.
out, and he was just like, oh, I'm going to do this, just be himself?
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much.
our second day I got a complaint from one of my customers. Hey, why is that guy hugging me in the front? And that lady ended up coming every week for 20 years.
Wow.
And then one time my dad went on vacation, and she goes, "Where's George? I want my hug." And I go, we got you.
Got
you didn't want it first.
Got
yeah.
you.
So yeah, that just happened. It just happened naturally.
Yeah. So George's is also really involved in the community. You help the homeless. I know you were helping the homeless during COVID, and you're just involved in the community in general. Why is that important for you to be a part of what goes on in the city?
Well, you know, my mom and dad instilled some really cool values in all of us, all the children. In that, if my mom always said, if you can help and you have the ability to help, whether it's financially or physically or emotionally, or you know, if people are having issues, friends of yours, get involved and do something about it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk too much about it because we do it because we like what we do, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I love that, though. I think it's amazing just that you are a restaurant, you're a business owner, and you step in and you don't need to, but you want to. And I love that you're even like, I don't want to talk too much about it because that's not what you're all about. But thank you for being
It makes me
somebody,
uncomfortable talking about
really?
it. Really? Yeah, it does.
How has George's been able to deal with COVID? I know that this is killing so many different small businesses. So how's it been for George's?
You know, I'm a pretty resilient person, and I'm good at maneuvering.
Yeah.
This year has been extremely difficult. I mean, this is the most unsure I've ever been of my ability to run a business that I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Because every week is something new and something different, and something, you know, the goalposts are changing all the time.
Right.
So, you know, for us, we just have to adapt as it comes. And you know, you can complain about it, but complaining doesn't do anything.
Right.
So it's been challenging. You know, I've lost many sleepless nights.
Yeah.
You know, especially here in downtown Long Beach, you know, a lot of our business was convention driven and people that worked in office buildings, and that's gone.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot more to go and delivery, and we've really pushed that part of our business.
Yeah.
And we're using a lot more of the third-party delivery services like DoorDash and Postmates and
which is something you had never done before,
No.
but obviously you have to do it right now to help stay alive. So
it's been challenging, but you know what? Once we get through it, we'll be fine, and we'll get through it.
yeah. So you're hopeful then. You're hopeful that everything will somewhat maybe return to normal, and George's will be all right in the end.
And we'll just keep going where we're going and figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For sure. Well, George's, I think, is the best Greek restaurant in Long Beach. I might be a little bit biased, but there's 3 different locations. There's the Pine location downtown, 2nd Street, and Lakewood location. How did George's become this Greek empire that it is? I always like to say that.
I wouldn't call 3 restaurants an empire.
It's an empire!
we did so well when we were downtown that we thought it'd be great to do something in Belmont Shore, because the 2 areas, it's like you're in 2 different cities. They're so different.
Right.
And so it just seemed natural to be able to do that. And they were also 3 siblings.
Right. That's another great point that I forgot to mention, is that George's is a complete family-run business. His sister Nikki runs 2nd Street. His brother Rip was also running 2nd Street, but is he still recovering from cancer?
No, my brother had a double lung and liver transplant, and so he cannot work.
That's right.
He has a compromised immune system.
Well, especially now with COVID too. So he's doing better?
Yeah, much better. He looks great. He feels great.
That's awesome.
He's still a smart ass.
Of course. That just runs in your family.
Yeah, right. But then we opened up. It just seemed like it was a natural thing to do, was to live the American dream and move ahead in life. You know? We're all immigrants here. My whole family, we all came here in 1980 from Zimbabwe, and we love this country, and it truly is the land of opportunity.
Absolutely.
And we are living proof, because we had nothing when we moved here.
And you just, I know that. I remember hearing that story that your dad moved here and had nothing and started working his ass off, and you're a hard worker as well. And
my mother worked at Wilson High School as a cafeteria attendant.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
My dad worked at a liquor store and then a Greek market. Yeah.
Wow. So the American dream is possible for immigrants.
It is.
Right?
For everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah,
for
not
everybody.
just immigrants.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate you. I love George's. If you have not been to George's, please come visit the Pine location, 2nd Street location, Lakewood. There's plenty of locations for you to try it all out. And support our local small business owners, because they need it right now. So thank you, Jimmy. I love you. I appreciate you for
Thank
talking
you. I love
to
you
me.
too, and I appreciate you.
You're the best.
You're the second best, though.
I'll take it.
CJ on the beat.
Welcome back, everybody, to Together We Eat. I am really excited about this episode. I am joined today by 3 women who have really inspired me with their contributions to our community. They're really, really involved, and they each are bringing something to the table today to help the homeless community in Long Beach. So I'm really excited to talk to everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show. My guests today are Nicole from Reasons to Love Long Beach, and we also have Marcella. Marcella has created Marcella's Outreach program, which is something she started from scratch, which I think is absolutely amazing. And she goes out and feeds all of our houseless neighbors. She supplies different food and clothing and snacks and just things that they need, which is awesome. So thank you for being here as well. Of course. And last but not least, we have Chelsie, and Chelsie is from Long Beach Resources, which is an organization that gives so much information on different jobs that are available, low-income programs, volunteer programs, so many different Long Beach resources. So thank you as well, Chelsie, for being here. Appreciate you. So I just want to hear a little bit more about your organizations. I know that I gave a little bit of an intro, but tell me about what your programs are about, what the objective is, and just kind of how you're helping our community. So we'll start with Nicole.
Our main focus is trying to get our community engaged and involved and on the street and actually helping people and not relying on the city to try to do that for us.
Right, because we all know what happens when we rely on the city to do shit for us.
Nothing happens.
Exactly, which is why we're here, figuring out a way to help the homeless.
Yes. Yeah.
I got you. Will you tell us a little bit about Marcella's Outreach?
Yeah, so I honestly just started. I would go out to the protests. I was active in the protests, still am, but I would go out, bring food, snacks, a protest aid, and at that time I would feed the unhoused and protesters. Mm-hmm. And I decided to really use this time and my focus to really help the unhoused, because I've seen how it's affected people during COVID. Like, everyone is literally one paycheck away from being on the street, and I just felt that I really needed to go out and just provide them basic needs. Like, when it was hot, when it was like, you know, having that heat wave, I was like, they need cold water. Like, they need, you know, supplies so they're not getting dehydrated. And, you know, I was just going out on my own, me and my friends going out and doing this. And
it's all your own money that you're providing. You do get donations and stuff like that, which you're starting to get more and more of. But in the beginning, it was literally just you, right?
Yeah, just basically me, like, paying for it. And you know, I'm just out here, just my goal is to be able to provide like Orange County and Long Beach and LA County, because they need it, you know, and they just want basic supplies, and I want them to work with people like Chelsie to help them get like housing and go to places where they can get jobs and get the, you know, need and support that they can help, or the support and need that they need.
I got you. I got you.
So,
cool. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love anything that's like just starting on your own because you wanted to do it and building that shit up, and I feel like you're getting so much more support now, so it's I'm happy for you. That's awesome to see your program grow. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you guys for your help.
For sure. So Chelsie, tell me about Long Beach Resources.
I mean, I think with everybody here, it's like we saw a need, and why wait for somebody else to do something that you can do yourself? I have worked like within social services in some capacity for like the last 10 years, and that's really where LBC Resources came from, was just seeing so much like information and opportunities being shared in like such a like siloed environment where it's only amongst each other.
Yeah.
And you're only getting certain things because you're part of these certain spaces. And I just felt like that was like fucked up. Like everybody needs this, and especially in like a large reason there's a homeless crisis is because nobody can afford to live. Like they're losing their jobs. They don't have a living wage, and especially in California. So it's like whether it's a person that's living on the street or somebody like even people that work in social services, like I still need shit. Like I don't even have enough money to live.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're seeing it on such a wide spectrum of people that need this, like why not like take that outside of that space and offer it up to the community? And it is wild, like just seeing the engagement that you get and on such a spectrum of, you know, people, that it's like, this is crazy. Why is this not more a part of our lives? Why is it so hard to find? Why do I have to dig through like 20 websites to find one thing I need? Or like I have to call 10 million people to get one answer, and it's like, that's not.
So let's kind of talk about that. Like, I mean, obviously the city isn't doing enough to help our unhoused neighbors. There was a 7%, I think, uptick in homeless population just from last year. And they have their annual count, which is a program that they do every year. And there's a little close to 200 volunteers that will go out, talk to people who are experiencing homelessness, and just get information from them about, you know, how they became homeless, if they have drug addictions, if they're a veteran, et cetera, et cetera. And this program is supposed to help create programs so that they know exactly in which little pockets what the city needs to do. But they're only doing it once a year, and I feel like, why? Like, how come it's not being done more? So, do you guys want to talk about that a little bit? Do you know why that?
There are outreach, like the city has part of like Continuum of Care, which gets state funding or HUD funding. Like, there's all these systems that exist to do these things.
Yeah.
But you don't really hear about it.
Ever.
And I think that there's a lot of red tape that you have to get through within those systems to see them actually working. Like, people are out there doing the work. The city has the structure set up, like the infrastructure is there. It's just like little things, like little nuances can throw off
An entire
the whole,
program.
like everything. Yeah, that people don't even think about, and you get just like a lot of top-down management. People up in really, you know, you're at your little penthouse office, delegating what people on the ground are doing, and you're like, you're so disconnected from the problem. This is not working. By the time it gets to us, I'm not getting any fucking thing done because I have too many hoops to jump through. And then,
yeah, it seems like they almost want to make it hard on people who want to create programs or create these changes. There's always some other little thing, like how we were talking about women who are experiencing homelessness have to go through the multiple services. That's what it's called, right? The multiple service center. Multi-service center. To be able to be referred to the Lydia House, which is one of the only women's shelters in Long Beach. And I just think that's such bullshit. Like, why should they have to, I feel like they're more susceptible to rape and abuse and those kinds of things. So how come it's not like an automatic, let's house this person and get them safe and like that kind of a thing. And men don't have to do the same, they don't have to jump through the same hoops. So
I have if you go around Long Beach, you will see the mayor's homelessness initiative, and they're the parking meters.
I saw that, like the Mayor's Fund or like something like that.
Mayor's Fund to End Homelessness. So these are the kind of things that they put sparkles on around our community. And so I decided to give them a call last week and find out exactly how much has this initiative gone towards supporting our houseless community. And in 1 year, they've earned $4,000.
Wow.
In 1 year.
Wow.
So
that's hard. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then
that's embarrassing.
And they tell you continue to support by clicking this link. So I click the link, and then it goes to a page talking about our homeless population in Long Beach, where it's estimated that 4,000 people are homeless. And I'm like,
wow.
Cool. So we just gave everybody $1,
right?
Wow.
Like what does that do?
Yeah,
what does that do? But you are toting this as like as the savior and like, oh, what a cool idea.
Yeah.
No, you're not doing shit.
It's not. They're not really enforcing anything. You know, like they're not. I don't feel like there's no real hands-on kind of like work from the city where they're actually doing what Marcy's doing and Marcella's doing, going out and talking to people and actually, you know, trying to understand why they're experiencing this and treating them like people too. I think that's a big thing, is just treating them with dignity and love and respect. And that's one thing that's frustrating for me, is that people don't see the homeless as human beings. They just think of them as drug addicts or crazy or something like that. So what are some things that you think we could do to help people realize that these are just people who have experienced maybe multiple different things, like parents losing a job, or just even affordable housing? They can't afford a $3,000 studio in downtown anymore, you know? So what are some things you think that we could do to help people realize, like, these are just people that need help?
I think, first of all, people just need to realize that they're human. Like, that's all you. That's all you need to say. Like, they're humans. They have basic needs. They want to be loved. They want to be, you know, talked to and have compassion towards them. And that's when I go out and I talk to them, they're so full of life. They're so funny. They tell so many jokes. They're like, "What's up, girl?" Like, you know, they're so funny and chill. And like, it really breaks my heart that people literally look down at them. They all think they're drug addicts. They all think that they want to be out there. That's the biggest thing. They think, well, they want to get help. They'll get the help. And it's not that easy. It is not that easy. Me and my boyfriend work, and it took us like 2 to 3 years to move to a place. And like, we're working. Like, just imagine someone who is just getting on their feet, who don't have references, who don't have
a shower to just, you know, go to an interview.
And I feel like going out, it really made me realize that we need more services, like providing portable showers out there, like washing services, or helping people like get haircuts so they can go on job interviews. You know, a lot of them don't want to be out there, and I feel like that's the biggest step, is people need to realize like they're just like us. And when you see someone on the street, like even if you don't have money, smile. Like I say, "How are you doing?" And just that engagement, like, I see you. I see you, you know, not like looking down like, and I see people do that all the time. I go to Ralph's and people are just like, and I'm just like, what do you need? Like, you know, and I feel like when you give them that respect, they're just so grateful. Like, you see me for who I am as a human, just wanting help and wanting need. And I feel like that's what people really need to see. Like, they're just like us. And I always tell people, like, that could be you. And that's my biggest thing, is just like, if you were in their shoes, you would want someone to go out and help you. It does not take a lot to do that. Even if you go out with a case of water and go out and help.
Something as simple as that, you know, just a case of water. When I did that with you, when I volunteered with you a few weeks ago, it blew my mind just how many people don't have water, like drinking water. I'm a thirsty ass bitch. Like, I drink water all day long. Like, I cannot imagine not having just drinking water. Like, it's heartbreaking that basic necessity isn't met. You know?
I know, and I feel so bad just giving them a few waters. Like, I wish I can go out there and give them gallons. Like, but it's like, you know, I need the space to do that, the donations, like. And it makes me feel bad that I can only provide like 2 to 4 waters to each person, because that's literally nothing, you know. And it's just like, like they should literally implement a freaking big ass Brita filter on the house or something for that. Honestly,
all the water fountains around Long Beach.
I was like even thinking like, damn, I wonder if I can give them Britas and they can like put water in it. At least it's like filtered, you know.
So what is the main consensus that you have found talking to people that why have they lost their home?
What I've noticed is that people can't afford their housing that they live, like the rent raising, they can't afford it, or they lose a job and, you know, money is not coming in so they can't afford their place, or just things like that. A lot of it is just honestly cannot afford to live, or they move into their car if they have a car, or if they don't have a car, they end up on the street. That's what I've seen personally.
Just not being able to afford housing.
Yeah, not being able to afford housing, or, you know, even having a job, it's really hard to get $2,000 to $3,000 when you're barely working minimum wage to even get another job. You know, they make it really, really hard to get an apartment.
For sure.
Then that's what I've noticed.
I think there's like a generational aspect of it too, of like some people just have more opportunities than others. A lot of people start 20 steps behind everybody else. And like Nicole said, like trying to get past that is hard. And I've seen a lot, just you can't get out of your parents' house. You can't do it on your own, especially coming to, you know, rent is rising every fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's just getting harder and harder and harder and harder. And so for younger people, it's like, okay, I have to get my security deposit, I have to be able to pay my rent. What other bills do I have? Like, the list just keeps adding up of people who want money from you, and then you're just knee deep in like bills, and that's really hard. And when we don't have, there's such a like a deficit in like the money that we're earning to what we're paying for rent. That, like the average or like the rule of thumb is you should be paying 30% of your income towards rent. We pay an average of 60 to 70% of our income just towards rent. That doesn't include my
car bills,
utilities and my
everything.
fucking student loans and
Yeah.
everything else. It's like, whoa, how am I ever gonna do this? And that's one thing that I've definitely seen that would do a lot is like just provide more rental assistance. Just low barrier to get in. Like you just have 2 or 3 requirements. Okay, we're just gonna cut it at that, and we'll give you $300 a month for rent. Like 300, 500. Some people just need an extra $100. Like
But
me
it
not like paying my student loans right now. Extra $200 a month, that makes a huge difference. Like,
it doesn't seem like the city really wants to lower any rents or make it easy for people to be able to have housing. I mean,
look what they're building in here.
Exactly.
It's
I'm like,
look
it's
at our.
It makes no sense. No one in Long Beach, like us, can afford $3,000 for a studio. And that's just imagine when you first move in, you gotta have what deposit, all of that. That's gonna be like $5,000.
utility companies even have deposits.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even get your lights on
Without-
unless you also pay this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have $300 to start this.
And I feel
fucking
like they need to
relationship.
have more affordable housing. That's it. Just like
They
rent
have
control.
no concern. They don't care.
They
do
don't care.
not care.
They do not care.
The way that they're making money is by selling land off to developers to do these high rises and then get, you know, back end profits from that. They do not care that it's not affordable to the residents here because they want to attract more high caliber people to try to uplift the city in which that.
Yeah, I just don't know why people would, or why they would want to make it so expensive. You know, that's the reason why I left Orange County to move to Long Beach, because it was affordable, it was cheap, there was community, like people were nice. I left Orange County for that, and I'm just like, this is just as expensive as Orange County.
Right.
And just imagine if we're struggling, the people who are like barely making ends meet with children, you know, who are coming. In COVID. Like, it's kind of like impossible, and they make it so hard, and I really want people to see that they need to make it a little bit easier for people like us to move into an apartment. You know, they need to make these places, all these nice buildings, affordable housing. Like, all the people who are on the river, like, you need a place, like, let's go. Just give them like drug testing, like make sure that they're doing good and they're not falling back into the same patterns. They don't have hope because we don't give them hope. If they had hope to move into one of these apartments, like I can move there, they would want to do better. But if they're just like, well, what the fuck do I have, you know? So
For sure. I want to end on some programs that you think, that I know that you know are out there to help people get involved more in the community and donate, volunteer, that kind of a thing. So what are some things that you would tell our listeners to get involved more?
I would just say, you know, do it, because there's no reason for you not to do it, you know, like go out to the areas where you're seeing unhoused people, provide them, just going to Costco, giving like granola bars or chips and water. I promise you it does not cost more than $20. It's really affordable. Stop buying Starbucks every day and help someone else in need. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it, look in your area of outreach people who are actually doing the work. And when you do that, investigate and make sure that they're actually doing the work. A lot of these communities and a lot of these organizations are saying they're doing the work and just taking the money and have nothing to show for it, you know? So
like
definitely.
the city's $4,000 mayor fund.
Which I'm sure got filtered through bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And there was nothing left at the end.
So just make sure that they are doing the work, and if you want to donate to me.
Any other programs you can think of? Long Beach Resources?
There's so many programs to get involved, and I think that's just taking the initiative on yourself to like look for it. It's out there. And if we can make it easier for you to find that, that's great. But just taking that step, like so many people sorry anybody who's done this, but like we'll come in our DMs and email to ask us something that you could just Google.
Right.
Like Google is a huge resource. Half the time when I'm answering shit, it's because I looked like I Googled it.
Right.
Here's the answer. So smart.
Google.
Here's
How do
the
I get
answer.
somewhere? Google. Like,
Yeah.
so it's just that, just you making the effort for yourself, but then also people that are, you know, my responsibility is to like to try to empower you to do that and to show you like these stories and make things a little bit easier as best I can, because sometimes you just need that point in the right direction. Like just guide me to this number that's gonna work,
Yeah.
and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, so it's all sides of it.
For sure. Well, thank all of you for being with me. I appreciate you all so much for talking to me and joining in this conversation. I will have all of their pages at the end of this episode for you to check out so that you can find them easily. Please take the time to get involved in your community, to help our houseless neighbors, and to do your part, because we live here, so let's make this place great. Love you, Long Beach. Thanks. See you on the next episode.
LBC.
LBC.